From the visionary minds of the guys who brought you the hit series Reboot comes Movies We Were Way Too Young to See. A podcast series that is exactly what it sounds.
7 days.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movies We Were Way Too Young to See. A look at some of the most influential films we grew up watching, regardless of parental approval. I am your co-host Mowgli, and sitting next to me, the man, the myth, the Malv.
Welcome back, guys. 'Tis the season.
Spooktober.
Yes, that's right. We had so much fun last year, we figured we'd delve into more of the creepiest, spookiest, most blood-riddled horror films we were able to get our hands on at such a young age. And just like last year, we got a special guest to kick off Spooktober. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome longtime listener, longtime friend, owner of the Towly Towel, David the Dr. Senyosa.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me here. And yes, that is my most prestigious accomplishment, is being the owner of the Towly Towel.
David, it's a pleasure to have you on here. Both me and Malv have known you for almost, 2 decades?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Since 6th grade.
Since 6th grade.
Yeah, well, thanks for including me in this.
Yeah,
It's
man.
an honor to be here.
Cool. Go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself, David. Who are you? What do you do?
I'm currently a PhD student in education, and I focus on virtual reality games for children. And I'm studying education so I can eventually design VR games. That's what I'm hoping to do for work after I'm out of school. I've been in school for way too long.
Since we've known you.
Yeah.
You've only been in school.
Yeah.
So trippy to think about.
I'll be
Yeah.
a doctor eventually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Malv, you got some great origin stories with David, right?
Dude, me and David go way back. I remember he was my main movie buddy. We would ditch Fridays to go see a brand new movie.
Yeah, and we were hoodlums about it too. Like, we saw 2 movies for only paying 1 ticket.
The
Between
tricks of the
like
trade.
4 people. Like, just keep running someone out to pass the ticket off. And I'm here to unpack some childhood trauma. Talking about
Yes.
this movie, which apparently we all saw together.
We did, don't you remember?
Let's get into it already then.
No, I did too many drugs to access those core memories.
Oh, David.
But the trauma of the movie itself sticks with me to this day.
I think it's time to open those childhood traumas, right? Well, without further ado, it's time to get into the movie we were way too young to see for the week. A film that once watched would kill you in 7 days.
7 days.
We're talking about the 2002 horror mystery, The Ring. Well, it's not movies we were way too young to see without revealing the age we were when we first saw The Ring. So, David, Malv, go ahead and let the audience know, how old were you when you first saw The Ring?
Well, remind me again when exactly it came out?
October 18th, 2002.
Okay, so I just turned 12 a few weeks prior.
I think we were all 12.
We were all
90s.
12.
We're 90s baby.
Yeah, we were all 12. I remember during band class, some of the students were like, yeah, The Ring, it's super scary. And like, yeah, you should watch it. The trailer, leave him alone!
I had to change it. I turned out, like, you know, the TV. I'm not even like at night, especially at night when you just get like random ass commercials. And
Yeah.
like, I didn't have cable at the time, you know, so it was like bombarded with ads all the time, like channel 9 and 11, you know?
Yeah, so 7th grade was definitely that transition period. You're past 6th grade, but you're not an 8th grader, so it's like...
Not a girl, not yet a woman.
So watching it during Thanksgiving break, it was Malv, it was David, it was myself. We also had our friend Chuck and our friend Jose. There weren't too many people watching it. It had already come out for a couple weeks, so the theater was kind of to ourselves. And that last scene especially, when Samara comes out of that TV, I remember screaming inside the theater. I was terrified.
No, I was terrified. You guys know me. I'm a baby. Like, I don't like horror movies, really. And, like, back then, for sure, like, I was terrified. And, like, what people wouldn't notice was she was glitching, too. Like, her skin and stuff. People don't really remember that. But, like, that was what I really remember. Like, she was glitching. And she, like, jump cuts to him.
I think that, to me, is one of the hallmarks of a good scary movie is you're not just scared while you're watching it. It sticks with you afterwards. And for this movie, I would picture the girl whenever there were shadows around, like, you know, your mind is filling it in the gaps with like the images that were like psychically burned into you.
How did you guys feel 1 week after watching The Ring?
Well, I didn't watch the cursed video, bro. But no, like.
Well, I made a copy, bro.
For me, like 2 days tops. 2 days tops. But that night of, for sure, I was deadly terrified. Like, I had those big giant TVs, you know, like those ones you needed 2 people to fucking move, like, you know, maybe 3.
Those
just
big screen.
Yeah,
those
the
Magna
tubes,
boxes.
those 2, yeah, straight up. So like, I remember walking in and I could see like the light reflection and like off of it. And I like it kind of scared me. Like, oh, someone there, you know. And it was just that creepy. Like, and it's like, God, come on now. I'm 12 years old.
Not a girl, not yet a woman.
I feel like 12 was the perfect age for this, though. We were a really good age for this. David, what about you?
Yeah, well, I had a similar experience, and I don't know about you guys, but I had a TV in my bedroom. So one of the genius parts about this movie is that it's using these everyday pieces of technology that everyone has as part of the story, as part of the curse, right? Like, everyone has a TV in their home. Everyone's got a phone. I don't remember how long afterwards I was scared, but there was one night where I was probably one of the most scared I've ever been in my entire life, let alone from a movie. And so like I said, I had the TV in my room. It was late at night, and my TV had a loose coaxial cable. And so it came loose sometimes, and then when it would come loose, it would go to static. And so like late at night, shortly after watching it, it does that. And then just this wave of like fear comes over me. Terror, absolute terror. And so, yeah, it was just like a fight or flight response. And I remember just running to my mom. And I know, you know, 12 years old, like, not a girl, not yet a woman. I asked her if I could spend the night in her bed, which I hadn't done in a long time, but I had to do a quick encore for this because
Well, it's the 20th anniversary. Let it all out.
yeah,
right?
yeah, unpacking the trauma. But yeah, she kept me safe that night, and
Thanks, Amma.
Thanks, Amma. Love you.
Well, let's go ahead and talk more about the film. Let's go ahead and read the log line to the audience. A journalist must investigate a mysterious videotape which seems to cause the death of anyone 1 week to the day after they view it.
7 days.
It stars Naomi Watts as Rachel, Martin Henderson as Noah. As for Samara, we have Davy Chase. She was also Samantha Darko in Donnie Darko. She voiced Lilo in Lilo and Stitch, and also Chihiro in Spirited Away. So, very impressive resume. Wanted to give her a shout out. Super creepy in this one. And can't forget Adam Brody from OC fame.
California.
Yeah. He plays male teen number 1.
My favorite male teen.
For the music, we have Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, I thought that was insane, right? Like, you could already see that they were bringing quality to this remake.
The film was directed by Gore Verbinski. If you're not familiar with him, he also did the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. And prior to that, he used to direct a lot of music videos, Bad Religion. So I don't know if you saw it in Noah's Locker. There's a couple Bad Religion and Descendant stickers in there. So a little bit of an homage. Yeah.
Yeah. The American Jesus video in particular was always a favorite of mine. It's interesting because it also has a grainy, like black and white feel to it. So I thought that was an interesting parallel.
The film was written by Aaron Kruger, but before that, it was a 1998 Japanese film written by Hiroshi Takashaki, and before that, it was a novel written by Koji Suzuki. What were your thoughts on the Japanese version compared with the US version? Which one scared you more? What can you take away?
I'm just gonna first say that like this is actually one of the first times where like a remake, an American remake off like a foreign film, is like actually on par or just slightly better. But I would say like this is a complimentary. Like if you like The Ring, I think you'll like the Ringu as well. If you like Ringu, you'll be like, oh, I like what they did with The Ring here and there.
Yeah, I have to agree with Moses there. I think that it only improves on the things that it takes from the original, or or it still hits the same. And this is where I think the American version surpasses the original in terms of its special effects.
That final scene when she comes out of the TV, that one was scary.
That's
Very
the
scary.
legacy of the movie and the franchise, I feel like,
Yeah.
that ending scene.
Yes. And those faces.
Yeah, Rick Baker did that. So the girl, Kate, who dies at the beginning, when you first see that shocking face of like her mouth wide open and like the life taken out of her.
Yeah.
That's Rick Baker. That's actually like a stunt double in there. And that's like what they call a death mask, obviously,
Rich Baker was involved with
There's so many.
Ghostbusters?
Like, MIB. What else did he do?
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Just a legend in like prosthetics and horror.
Doctor. How are you feeling about these Japanese horror adaptations?
I haven't seen any of them. So
Good to know. All right, moving on.
1 out of 5 doctors don't watch movies. I feel this is like the pinnacle, right? Like this is the granddaddy of them all, like of that era of the early 2000s. Like,
The Ring was the pioneer of this.
Oh yeah, it was definitely like one of the first beginning ones. The one that just made the most money, kind of like The Grudge and Ju-on. How like I feel like horror always has that here and there, because like when the Blair Witch Project came out, then like that was the thing everybody wanted to do in horror or try to remake that.
If I were to just speculate too about what makes The Ring stand out, it's I think a little bit more participatory. It's not just a ghost story about some family that experiences something. It's creating a world in which anyone can watch the tape, and anyone who watches it will get cursed.
7 days.
Why was Rachel the first one to try and break the curse? How many people had seen it before that?
I would interpret that in the sense that she is a journalist and that she kind of had access to all these extra equipment, right? Which is something that they added in the US version. But like there's that special room where she works at
the AV room, right?
The AV room, right? Right. So she copies the tape. The ex-husband, Noah, he is an expert in this, right? In video technology. She tells him at one point, like, hey, stop nerding out on this. And so I think that probably explains why she was, the first one to break the curse in the American version. And I think it's an interesting departure from, or a change from the Japanese version, because something about American culture is very technocratic in that we trust experts, like people with like special training or special abilities, like
People that are doctors.
yeah, exactly. Or archaeologists, right? Indiana Jones, he's an archaeologist. People in a lot of American stories have some kind of like special training or special position. And in the Japanese version, that takes a different form. Malv and I were talking about one of the major changes from the Japanese to American, which is the fact that the husband character in the original, in the Japanese version, has ESP. And so like that's his special ability. And we were talking about how that affects the story a little bit. You want to go into that, Malv?
Yeah, I feel like it affects it a lot. I wanted to see it more, the ESP emphasized, because you see it in Aiden in the American version, the little boy. Like you hear him, he talks to somebody, the girl,
I think Aiden seems more weathered to me. He seems like he's seen way more stuff.
He's been around the block.
Yeah.
I told you.
Well, he knows how
Step
evil
uncle.
he knows how evil Samara is, because like remember when Rachel was like, I freed it, it's okay. And it's like, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. She's gonna come back.
That got me.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that, is what he said.
His face. Remember the way he delivers it? He was scared. Yeah.
So like I compared that to Haley Joel Osment's I See Dead People. Aiden would work in like an Insidious, huh?
Insidious, or I'm even seeing Damien.
He would be a modern day.
Yeah,
that'd be scary.
At that era, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to David Dorfman. We love it.
with the ESP and stuff, it gives it more of a spiritual like story because remember, it's like more of a Japanese folklore over there. You know, they took more of elements from that. And in this one, I feel like it is Hollywood a little bit like cookie cutter because like, yeah, she's a reporter. Whoa, that's a pretty good job to have when you're going to investigate a crazy tape, right? And like the only reason she knows about it is because her niece died. Remember, that's the kicker. And her essentially sister, I believe, or sister-in-law tells her like, look into this. How did she die? Like, what is going on? And again, I feel like that's where we get into like the bad horror tropes. Like you guys are saying, like, conveniently being able to have the AV room, conveniently finding the lighthouse that was in the video, you know, like
C'est la vie.
you know, like just sometimes it felt like they conveniently fell into like the clue.
Whereas Ringu did what?
Ringu is like it gave an excuse to ESP because the husband could see certain things, you know. So then they were trying to like clue that would help them figure some shit out, you know. But again, there were some kind of plot holes with that too. It made it differential, culturally different, I felt.
There's a throwaway line in the Japanese version where the ESP dad speculates that the father, the original father of the girl, who is her name is Sadako in the Japanese version, that Sadako's father could have been a demon.
Yeah.
And that's something that wouldn't really fly. Like ghost dad isn't really a thing that I think would like reach American audiences. So I think a lot of the adaptations that they made were very on point in terms of making it just make more sense within the American cultural atmosphere.
Yeah.
That was it.
What
Really?
scene scared you the most, David?
The scene that scared me the most was probably the tape itself. The tape itself freaks me out, and the way that it's, you know, presented in the movie, it's presented where the frame of the tape and the frame of the actual movie that you're watching are superimposed. So it's like, oh, I'm watching the tape, right? So it like puts you in that position. Yes, that voyeuristic kind of immersive feeling. And the tape itself is super creepy. It still creeped me out today watching it. All of the weird imagery, cryptic imagery. It's practically Lynchian with like the upside down chair spinning and like the ladders, and then all of the creepy like
Why, thank you.
bugs. The creepy bugs and static before the tape starts, and then there's like this just eerie like crackling and kind of like feels like a portal to another dimension or something, right?
For those of you who want to watch Ring Tape, it's available on YouTube, but it was also an Easter egg on the DVD. There was a little menu, secret menu. You look here, press down, and your cursor will disappear. You press enter. There it is.
Yeah, those are the greatest about buying DVDs back then. And
Yeah,
doing those.
I do miss that from the DVDs, the amount of special features that they have. David, you were mentioning technology earlier, and I'm pulling up this 2003 Salon article called Decoding the Ring, and they also mention technology.
Technologic.
Buy it, use it.
Copy it.
Copy it.
Buy, tape,
That was good.
film it, tape it, copy, upgrade it.
Stream it.
Well, anyways, going back to the Salon article, and I think the gentleman who wrote it, Bruce Stone, quote, "The film's primary target, of course, is technology. Television is literally a weapon in the film. The idea is extended to include the media in general when Morgan compares a reporter's task to the transmission of sickness."
Making something so familiar, so scary, it heightens it because like we were scared after the fact too, because these pieces of technology are around us all the time. There was the multiple layers of having the everyday versus the expert technology too. So it's very, very technological film. And I think that the American version comments more on this aspect of TV playing this role in our lives where a lot of our time is centered around watching TV, watching stories. And then Samara was trying to reach people through that medium, right? That's why she wants people to copy the tapes. In the barn, her isolation chamber, right? Because the dad, Richard Morgan, wanted to keep her away from the mom. So he isolated her above the horses in the stable. And when the protagonists reached that room, they notice that there's a TV in that room, and they say, "Oh, this is what They make a comment about this is how she must have been spending her time, and so I think that is a commentary on how parenting is taking place in our modern era, where a lot of the raising of children is done by the TV itself.
By the phone now.
I try to take a balanced approach to this because fear mongering about TV and the fears around its effect on our society have been around as long as TV has been around, right? This isn't a new discussion, but as our world becomes more media rich, I don't necessarily think that you have to watch quote unquote like educational TV to get something out of it. Like, for example, I watched a lot of Comedy Central growing up, and you can learn a lot about culture in the world from watching stand-up. Ultimately, the television is a medium to deliver stories through, and types of stories that we get are visual, audio, they're multi-layered, multimodal stories, and I think that it's not a question of, is it good to take in these kinds of stories? Is it good to to have kids take in these stories or not? I think it's a question of which stories you're actually getting from the TV.
Balance, yeah.
Yes, a balanced diet.
Yes. Doctor approved.
Yeah. So I actually want to ask you guys a question. To what extent do you feel like you were raised by TV?
I spent a lot of time in front of the TV growing up. We're doing a movie podcast.
We were also watching like Pulp Fiction,
Yeah.
and like hardcore
Reservoir
stuff.
Dogs.
Library, man. They didn't even check my ID.
Library boys.
That's where I got Ringu in the ring for this too.
Yeah.
Stay on it.
Support your local libraries.
Feels like almost every generation since like the 60s on have been somewhat raised by TV because of the pop culture push of everything, you know?
Modern day wise, Stranger Things, especially like the whole observation, like the child under surveillance, and when she coughs up those like medical equipments. What are those called when you put them on your heart, doctor? Time's up.
I should know this. I thought there was a test here. I didn't know Malv and Mowgli tested.
Right? The stethoscope or something.
We're certified.
Yeah.
But anyways.
It's like a pad.
Did we say this already? Would you have watched the tape? Would you have made a copy?
Hell no, I wouldn't have watched that tape. Dude, I was scared. I was like very prone to fear and anxiety even at that age. That was like the hardest experience I had with being scared by a movie. I had never been more scared by a movie before or since.
No, I'm always terrified of those of films. Like horror films are not my bag at all. Like Chucky, Child's Play, my aunt showed it to me once, and I was terrified of Chucky for the longest. Like I didn't think I saw it till high school. Like that should just be traumatizing. But for The Ring, I told you it was only like the 1 or 2 days. Like I saw a reflection, or I thought I saw a reflection in the TV, and it happened with me with The Grudge. Like it was hard for me to take that first shower because I thought like, I know it's so fucking stupid, but you're like 12, 13, and you're like, nothing's gonna come out of my fucking head, bro. I'm not even near no crazy Japanese like spirited boy, like, but it's still I had a fear of putting the shampoo, like, but for me, I don't have everlasting fear of it.
No.
You know what I mean? Like I just have like that initial, and then I'm like, I know what it is. And especially when it's a good story, like this, The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby, Nightmare on Elm Street, Insidious. For me, like it's the story too, and it makes you like think that, oh shit, this is good. It doesn't matter that it's almost 2 hours. Like you're involved with these characters.
I didn't know it was that long. Yeah, you're right. One more thing too. I want to mention we played a prank. I played a prank. We were watching the Ring tape on the internet, and I called his home. He picked up, and I went,
Siete días.
Oh my god!
and he freaked out. And I thought he saw me because I thought he saw me.
You were just like outside.
I was watching him freak out.
Yeah.
And I was just laughing in hysteria. I had to calm him down. But Dave, we got you.
Fuck,
Dave,
yeah.
we got you. Trick or treat, everybody. That does feel like an appropriate ending to this episode, right? Doctor, Malv?
Thank you, David, for coming through. Hope you guys love them. Let us know if you want them back or we get a new friend in here.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here as well. It's great to just, talk about our childhoods and break stuff down. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, David. Those are very kind words. We hope to have you back. And that is going to do it for this week's episode of Movies We Were Way Too Young to See. We hope you had a blast listening. We always have a blast recording, especially this episode. This episode was sick.
Yeah, this was fun, man. It was fun.
Questions, comments, anything like that, feel free to email us at malvandmowgli@gmail.com. Subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcasts. And one more thing, follow us on social media, will ya? At Malv_N_Mowgli. David, before we leave, anything you want to tell the audience? You got any plugs?
Yeah, so I stream online. I play games, but I also do discussions about anything from different educational topics to politics and just kind of hanging out. But yeah, you can catch my schedule for when I stream, wherever I stream, on my Twitter. So that's twitter.com/DJSANOSA.
Make sure you guys check that out.
Thank you, David. Go ahead and check that stuff out. He's a great dude. He's already a great doctor.
Yeah, maybe we can watch some movies on stream and break down some more horror movies. Come by and we'll unpack some more trauma.
Happy Spooktober, everyone.